Hey everybody, I'm Vince Gill, and this is No Time to Be Timid.
Hey there, I'm Trisha Rose Burt, and in this podcast, we talk to artists who show us how to find the courage to take risk, step out of our comfort zones, and use our creativity to make our work and change our world. Pay close attention because this is no time to be timid. Hey there, and welcome to the show. So we are all in for a serious treat. My guest this episode is the award-winning singer-songwriter Vince Gill. And when I say award-winning, I mean 22 Grammy Awards. He won Grammys every year from 1990 to 1999, and his latest win was in 2021. He's won 8 Academy of Country Music Awards and 18 CMA Awards. No other artist has won the CMA Male Vocalist Award in 5 consecutive years. And he's the only songwriter to win Song of the Year 4 times. One of those songs is Go Rest High on That Mountain.
Weren't afraid to face the devil. You were no stranger to the rain. Go rest high. On earth is done. Go to heaven and shout.
What you just heard is from the YouTube clip of Vince playing that song at George Jones's funeral. It's been viewed 19 million times, and I'm 1 million of those views. Vince is a member of the Grand Ole Opry, was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2007, and his knowledge of country music is so extensive, he was featured in nearly every segment of Ken Burns' documentary on country music. Along with his unforgettable tenor voice, Vince is an extraordinary guitar player and has shared the stage with guitar greats like Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, B.B. King, and Carlos Santana. He's been playing with his good pal Joe Walsh and the Eagles for the past 9 years, stepping in for the late Glenn Frey. His vintage guitar collection is out of this world. And sure, he's collaborated with every possible country music great like Dolly Parton and Reba McEntire, but think of music legends in other genres like Sting or Barbra Streisand, and Vince has collaborated with them too. So Vince is basically a music icon. But he's on the show because he continues to make courageous choices, not only for his career, but also for all of us, using his music to make the world a better place. He's one of the nicest, most generous people you'll ever meet. Lucky for me, I met Vince for the first time back in 2012 when his wife Amy Grant and I reconnected after I performed my one-woman show at a Vanderbilt University reunion. Amy asked me to perform my show at their home 2 weeks later. During rehearsal, I realized I needed somebody to run the sound for the show, which meant occasionally pushing a button and correctly adjusting the volume. Vince volunteered for the task. As I sat surrounded by Grammy Awards, it occurred to me this was probably not the best use of his skill sets, but he was game, and I was grateful. Since I've got to know Vince as a friend, I forget sometimes that he's the icon that he is. But I was reminded last week when I saw him perform in Boston. I sat in the audience for more than 3 hours, gobsmacked, in awe of the talent this man possesses. In our conversation, Vince reflects on his 50-year journey in music and talks about the choices that shaped his career. And he shared some insights. Growth comes from stepping out of your comfort zone, something Vince continues to do. The sure thing is not necessarily the right thing. Don't ever be the best musician in the band. You've got to stand by your beliefs, even if everyone else is going in a different direction. Success is not defined by charts or sales, but by respect from peers. And kindness could solve every problem we have. At 68, Vince believes he's making the best music of his career. No matter where you are in your artistic journey, you will leave this conversation inspired. Hey, Vince, thank you so much for letting me come to your studio.
Yes, ma'am.
So you left home 50 years ago.
That's what they tell me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember it, but yeah.
Well, from what they say, you left home 50 years ago. I need to know what that looked like. Like, did you get your high school diploma on a Friday and then get in a car on a Saturday?
It wasn't quite like that. It was close to that, but yeah, I got out of high school and I didn't really have a plan. I knew I wasn't going to go to college.
Why did you know that?
Because I didn't want to.
Okay.
They couldn't teach me anything about hillbilly singing and guitar playing, so I just didn't see the need to go. I never applied to a school, never even looked into it, and because I spent so much time of my high school years playing out, playing in clubs, playing in a couple of different bands, making records and doing all that stuff. So,
when was the first time you got on a stage?
I don't remember. I think it was in grade school, second grade maybe.
And what were you playing?
The guitar. And I sang The House of the Rising Sun.
No way.
No way, yeah. So I didn't even know what it was about. You know, song about a house of ill repute, and I'm up there singing. I'm sure the teachers are just rolling their eyes going, oh, my God, you know.
So did you know, like, did you look in the mirror at age 10 and go, I want to be a musician? Like, did you always know that was your identity? Did you ever think maybe I'll do something else, or was it just in you right from the start?
Well, I was a good athlete. You know, I was a decent athlete, played sports well, and I was a decent golfer. And I had every kid dreams of playing Major League Baseball or something like that, you know. But it was sports and music for me, you know, just hands down. And I'd given so much of my time to music by the time I got into high school and was, like I said, playing out, that I knew what I wanted to do. And it didn't matter to me. I don't think I ever really thought about it in terms of being successful. I only thought about it in terms of just doing it. I mean, they asked my mom years later after I'd had a pretty good amount of success, and they were talking to her, and they said, did it bother you that your son didn't take a more traditional route and go get a good job, get an education, da-da-da? And she kind of went, no, it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all. She said, I didn't care anything about having a rich kid. She said, but I sure cared about having a happy kid.
Yeah.
And that music made him happy.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And so I never, I didn't get grief from my folks. Like, what are you doing? You're wasting your time messing around with that music thing. And they both liked music, so I think they enjoyed it too.
So what about your friends? I mean, were they taking a more conventional path? Did they look at you like...
everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, thought I was nuts, but, and maybe I was. But, and I left home, and so the majority of my buddies growing up with, kind of lost touch with for the most part, because I left and I traveled, and I've been gone ever since.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Okay, so instead of going through all of the repertoire of everything you've done, I would kind of want to focus on those moments where you had to step into some real courage, because this is what the show is about. So you had this big milestone when Mark Knopfler asked you to go join him on a world tour with Dire Straits, and I was watching Ken Burns' Country Music. I'm going to tell you what your quote was, and then I'm going to ask you a question about it.
See if it was true.
See if it was true. Yeah, I don't know if you were lying. You might have been lying,
Pretty
Vince.
good chance.
You're
My
kind of
lips are moving. I might be lying.
you're a questionable character. Anyway, it said, I was struggling to pay the house note at the time, and it would have cured everything financially. It would have been a great experience. The musician in me wanted to do that so badly because I love the way he plays and sings, but I told myself, if you're not going to believe in you, who else is? I'm going to have to say no. I don't want to say no, but I have to try it. I think I have something to offer this world of country music. So I want to ask you a question. You said the musician in me wanted to do it. Who overrode it? What part of you overrode the musician and said, we're going in this other direction?
Well, I think they're all the same guy.
That's what I was, that's what I'm wondering.
It was that simple. If I don't, what it would have done to me by taking that job would have been admitting failure. Because the years prior I struggled, and I couldn't get a hit, and I couldn't get on radio and all those kinds of things. So it was, the sure thing is not necessarily the right thing. And so I just said, I gotta follow my heart, because my ears tell me. My ears aren't lying to me. I can sing as good as anybody in this business, and these songs are good. And I keep, I want to keep after it. I just think my gut tells me I belong.
And so that's always a question that I have sometimes. Is it vision or is it ego, right? That tension?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it ego because I don't know that I have a whole lot of ego.
No, you don't.
When it comes to this
Yeah.
this thing I do, and I'm very open about what I can and can't do, and I don't give a rip who gets the credit or who gets to be in the spotlight or all those kinds of things. So with that, I know it's just I'm just trying to make the best decision I can. I heard Keb Mo say one time, somebody asked him, said, when did it finally break for you? When did it finally, kind of blow up? And he said, when I didn't have a backup plan. And it was kind of neat to hear that, many years down the road. But, I didn't mind, it was not frustrating to not have success.
Yeah.
That's the real odd thing to kind of say out loud. But I was a part of the community, whether I had success or not.
Yeah.
People asked me to come and sing and play on their records, to come and be in their bands and play on the road. And I could have done fine. I would not have killed it. I wouldn't have a nice house in a nice neighborhood and all that, but I was respected and I played with great people, and the people that were the best of the best liked what I did. So that was success. I didn't always equate success with hit records and the charts and record sales, and those kinds of things were not what were going to define me.
I had a creative coach ask me, Trisha, what's more important to you, fame or the respect of your peers? I went, respect to my peers.
Absolutely.
Every time.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there that play in stadiums, but they don't have the respect of their peers, and that kills them and eats them alive.
Yeah. And that's why it was that vision ego thing. Sometimes when I'm thinking of something, it's like just checking in with myself, because sometimes I feel, don't get ahead of yourself. Do you think you could really do that? I'm just trusting my strengths and my talents. And that's what you did. You just said, I can, this is what I can do.
It's all I had.
Yeah.
All I could do is what I did. It's funny. I heard somebody talk about creativity and art. I said, art is never finished. It's only abandoned. And that's a powerful statement. You could be a painter and I could put some more red in there. Yeah, I could put another leaf on that tree. I could da. But at some point you got to just kind of go, okay, that's about as good as I got right now.
Yeah.
I have to let it go.
Yeah.
And it's always been out of the beautiful thing to realize, and it probably came way too late, but it was always out of my control. It was always out of my hands.
What's it?
Whatever result of what I did was, of the art I created. It was out of my hands whether people would respond or wouldn't, I had nothing to do with it. And none of the notes changed on any of those records, whether people bought them or didn't buy them. The work was done prior to me letting it go. It's like I said, once it's just abandoned, and that's what I do. I do the best I can, and then I have to let it go.
How many songs have you written, do you think?
I don't know. I have no clue.
A lot.
Yeah, I'd say probably 1,000 or more.
So how do you refill your well to keep that going?
Well, creativity is what I was meant to do, so it kind of comes natural. Melodies are always in my head. Thoughts are always in my head. Stories, I love telling stories, so there's nothing I enjoy more than sitting down with a blank piece of paper and see if I can tell a story that moves somebody.
You've been pretty good at that so far.
Well, not bad,
So, okay, so one of the main, I've been wanting to have you on the show ever since I started it because of a conversation we had back in 2018. You had been asked to join the Eagles after Glenn Frey had died. I had met up with you and Amy in Boston because y'all were playing at the Garden. And I said, so how is it playing with the Eagles? And you said to me, well, I'm not scared anymore. And I was like, what? I couldn't imagine someone of your station being scared. And it was so liberating to hear that you were still pushing yourself out of a comfort zone to where you would feel being scared. So I want you to talk about what that whole experience.
I think for me, some of my favorite work I've done is when I was uncomfortable, when I was out of my element just enough, to put a little bit of pressure on you and put a little bit of heat on you. And there's several examples of that I did things because I worked at it that I didn't think I could do.
Like what?
like sing a song called Surf's Up, Beach Boys song.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
I got invited back in, I think about 2000, 2001 to do a tribute to Brian Wilson and his music at Radio City Music Hall, I think is where it was. Amy came, Karina was a baby, and so when they called and asked if I would sing a couple songs, I said, yeah, what songs? And they said, Warmth of the Sun, which I knew. And I said, okay, yeah, I can do that. And they said, and we also want you to sing Surf's Up. And I didn't know Surf's Up. I mean, I love the Beach Boys, but I don't know all their records. And I said, okay. I was thinking Warmth of the Sun is a ballad, so the other one's a Surfing USA kind of song. Everybody surfing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard it, and I went, I don't think it's humanly possible to sing that, you know. And I called my manager, Larry, and I said, I'm not sure I can do this. He said, well, just sit with it for a little bit and try. And
what about it made you think it wasn't humanly possible to sing it?
This was so freaking hard.
Okay.
You know, the way it was written, it was like an orchestral piece, you know, way out of my element. And I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked. And David Crosby was part of it, and Jimmy Webb, great songwriter. The three of us were going to do it, and I had all the first parts of the song, which were the hard parts. And I had the guts to try, you know, and it worked out and it came off pretty good. And but yeah, you know, I remember a TV show with Sting I did where we were going to sing each other's songs, and his music is complicated to me in a great way. I love what he does, but I thought it's a little bit over my head, you know. But as I dove into it and found my way into it with a little preparation, a little hard work, and I could find my way into it and make it make sense to me. And so anytime I got into a situation where I felt a little overwhelmed, I think it made me, you know, rise a little bit. It was cool. The best advice, I think some of the best advice I ever got as a young musician was, don't ever be the best musician in the band because you'll never learn anything.
Oh, yeah.
So I've always tried to surround myself with people that are way better than me, and I do, and I have, and I still do to this day. So it's fun because when everybody else is probably a good bit better than you, you have to come up to them instead of play down to lesser talented people.
What was it like the first time you got on stage singing Take It to the Limit?
Well, I was terrified. You know, I mean, to be honest, it's bizarre just in itself to stand in front of people and perform.
Yeah.
It's not natural. I had a sports psychologist to me one time said, what you do couldn't be more abnormal.
And why? Say it.
He said, because all you ever hear is adulation.
Oh, yeah.
He said, that's really weird, you know? And so he encouraged me to beat myself up a little bit. You know, he said, be hard on yourself because it's good for you, help keep you level. And so I knew the apprehension that was, I could feel it. And we were playing Dodger Stadium, 2017, and Randy was there, Randy Meisner, who sang Take It to the Limit. And I could feel the crowd, just the tenseness of the people, because here was somebody getting ready to sing the songs that Glenn had sung for 45 years, you know, 50 years, whatever it's been. And so I sang a verse and a chorus of it, and everybody just kind of went, it's going to be okay. You know, he can do it, you know. And it's okay, you know. I don't fault people for not being accepting of me being in the band. You know, I knew it was coming. I knew there'd be a lot of naysayers. There still is, and there always will be. And it's okay. I don't blame them. I said I said, somebody asked me about it, and I said, hey, I don't want to hear me sing New Kid in Town either. But the other option just isn't possible, you know. So let's just grin and bear it and get through it.
Okay, so here's my next question. Am I wrong in saying your favorite place to perform is the Ryman?
Live, yeah. I do like the vibe there a lot.
So with the Eagles, you're currently performing at the Sphere, which could not be a more different experience.
Oh, there's nothing, you can't compare it to anything because there's never been anything like it.
Like, did you have to learn new technology? Did you have to learn a new way to deliver your music? Like, what did you have to learn skill-wise going from someplace like the Ryman to someplace like the Sphere?
Well, nothing really, in the sense that all I'm doing is singing and playing.
Yeah.
You know, that hasn't changed. The way it's formatted and the way it's done is very different. I have to wear in-ear monitors, which I've never worn, and I don't like them
Why don't you like them?
because they disconnect you from performing in front of an audience.
Okay.
In the Sphere, the thing there, it's a visual, and music has never been visual to me. It's only about listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I jokingly tell people, I said, yes, the most people I've ever been ignored by when I perform, they go, oh, you arrogant, you know what? And I go, no, I'm just kidding. It's a joke, But you can't help it. People are looking at the ceiling and they got the phones out, and it's a spectacle like you can't describe to people because of the size of it and the magnitude of it. It's so much more massive than a screen behind a giant stage and a PA and all that you normally see at a concert. So it's its own thing, and it's unbelievable. People love it.
Listen, I was just in our little cafe at our bookstore in Peterborough, New Hampshire, the Toadstool Bookstore, and the owner of the cafe there had just been to the Sphere and was just going on and on about what an amazing experience it was. But for you, what does it feel like? I mean, does it satisfying, or is it?
Well, yeah, it's a real gift to get to play and sing those songs.
Yeah.
The Eagles songbook is it's untouchable, and that's why they're them, is because their songs were so great. And so, I've had plenty of experience since playing with them of people not being about me being up there, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And none of that feels like that at the Sphere. It's just going in that what they want to do is watch the show. It's Vegas. It's bigger than life. It's unlike anything they've ever seen, and the wow factor is through the roof. And that going in, so it doesn't bug you one bit.
There is the intimacy. Your songs are so intimate. And the Eagles is a different thing. I'm thinking of Vince Gill.
Yeah.
And how you operate in the intimacy of your song. But it just seems like such a huge transition. Like it would be so great and also overwhelming to be in that space.
Yeah, but it's kind of, it winds up being the same thing. Nobody grows tired of a great singer singing a great song.
Yeah.
And that still is what you're there for, to hear those songs that are familiar to you and they mean something to you. And so, all the bells and whistles make it even more fun. The most amazing thing there's 164,000 speakers in the Sphere, and it's kind of a 360 experience. It's more around you, and all the speakers are behind you. So there's elements of, you can't have amps on stage. You can't, because there's a latency issue by the time the sound transfers from what you do to the speakers and through to the crowd. It's later than you've played it. So it'd be impossible to play with if you didn't have ear monitors to shut off the live sound. It's a trip, but it's doable.
I was going to say that would mess with my head.
Yeah, it does.
I think it would mess with your head. Okay.
And I don't watch the content because it makes me dizzy.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, there's some songs that can really mess with your equilibrium a little bit. Your balance.
So where do you look?
I look at the crowd.
Yeah. Another reason why I wanted to have you on the show is there's sometimes I imagine the crowd is going in one direction and you're going in another way, just doing what you think is right. Back in 2003, when the Dixie Chicks got into a little bit of trouble saying what they did in London in March, and the rest of the country music community was really ignoring them and canceling them, and people were running over their CDs, and there were two people who were sticking up for them, and you were one of them. Talk to me a little bit about that experience. I know that you didn't necessarily agree with their viewpoint, but you did agree with their right to say what they needed to say.
Yeah, and here's the thing: if you've never tried to win an audience, a whole lot of that was them just trying to get an audience on their side, and get them to whatever, and whatever. My point was, I've heard people in their own world, in the political world, say worse things about him than they did, and nothing happens to them. It just seemed like a grossly unfair, to destroy their careers for saying something foolish, and maybe their bravado made them wouldn't go, hey, take it back and say, okay, I made a mistake. That's neither here nor there, but I just thought it didn't make any sense to completely take them out, in a sense, and here's my favorite part of what happened. So I'm a friend of that guy's. We were golfing buddies, and and they couldn't have been a better family. They're a great family, and I knew Senior well, and sang at their anniversary, and all kinds of stuff. Just great people.
Yeah.
I never drew any lines politically with people. If you believe what you believe, I'm not gonna dislike you or be against you or any of that. I'm not judgmental in that way. So years later, Natalie Main's father is a great musician, and I was at a thing, Hall of Fame thing for Austin City Limits, and somebody was getting inducted, and I was helping out. And this was many years after what happened had happened. And he pulled me aside and he said, I need to talk to you about something. He said, you're about the only person that stuck up for my kid. And as a father, I just want to say thank you.
Oh, my word, Vince. Oh, my word.
So,
yeah,
whatever grief I took from it, and I'm sure there was plenty. I didn't see it or didn't pay any attention to it. And I operate under the theory I'm not going to believe the good things they say about me or the bad things they say about me. I got a pretty good level path of how I treat people and how I carry on. So just hearing him say that as a father, as a fellow father, it was pretty powerful.
It's a very courageous thing to do, to just stay in your lane and say, I'm not following all these other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to always give people, that's why I brought it up. We need examples of that all the time, of saying, you know what, some people need defending for, and you don't need to jump in with the rest of the other crew.
But it's not hard to defend somebody if you're not also saying out of the side of your mouth, you should feel like I do. I don't care if you do or not.
Yeah.
But don't hate me because I have a different viewpoint than you do.
Yeah.
But we've gotten to that point where, sadly, I got a song I wrote where it talks about, it's a song called The Whole World. Basically says it feels like the whole world's got a broken heart. We sure could use a brand new start. How the hell did we wind up so far apart?
Yeah.
We sure could, Well, feels like the whole world's got a broken heart. In that song, there's a line that says, I'll never hate you if we disagree, because, brother, you're breathing the same air as me. And that's how I feel about all these things. I'm not trying to pick a fight. I'm not trying to say you're wrong. I'm not trying to do any of those things. I stick up for what I think's decent, what's fair and kind.
We'll get back to the second half of our conversation in a moment, but right now, I want to tell you about our sponsor, Interrobang Books, a Dallas-based independent bookstore which was named one of the country's top 5 bookstores by Publishers Weekly. They have a fabulous, curated online collection, and it's just as easy to shop with them as it is with Amazon. Who doesn't want to support an independent bookstore? Please show them some love and check them out at interrobangbooks.com. That's Interrobang, INTERABANG, books.com. The other thing that you do, though, is you inject an awful lot of empathy out there in the world, right? And so, your song, you're a great songwriter, obviously, but there's so much empathy for other people in those songs. So, in your Okie album, there's 2 songs, Forever Changed, which is around sexual abuse. And then there's What Choice Will You Make, about teen pregnancy, which is, I listened to both those songs. I'm like, how is he channeling this? It's something. They're very, very powerful songs. I think, though, what's important about what is another reason why I wanted to have you on the show is that you will address not necessarily, but you will address difficult topics in your songs.
Sure.
That other people may stay away from, not necessarily to have a judgment, you're right, you're wrong, but to start a conversation.
Well, I think that it all stems from nobody likes to be preached at.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody likes to be told what to do, how to think, how to do it, or any of those things. Amy and I struggle with it too in life. Just don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, I'm familiar with that too.
And it's okay. You can have conversations like that if you're respectful,
Mm-hmm.
and if you have grace, and if you're not trying to just, with your only point being, I want you to feel like I do.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody likes being around like-minded people.
Yeah.
It's secure.
Everybody's in an echo chamber.
Yeah, kind of. And once again, that song you mentioned about, it's what choice will you make? It's about a young girl that gets pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And the song is basically, what choice will you make? And the beauty of the song is it never chooses.
Yeah.
It never picks a side. It never tells you what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And it doesn't preach at you. And the girl I wrote that with, Leslie Satcher, is a very big time believer, and very pro-life and all that. And so it was interesting kind of in writing that song with having to hold her back just a hair, you know?
Yeah.
And go, hey, let's not make this about what we think should happen. Let's just paint the scenario and not have to answer the question.
And again, like a lot of your songs, it's very cinematic. And so when you're listening to it, you can picture this young woman and you can see what she's going on. And the lyric is, what choice will we make, whose heart will you break? Whatever you choose, you'll wear on your face. And it just about, and it makes me tear up just thinking about it. Sorry about that. It makes me tear up just thinking about it. But you,
Granny said, if your eyes leak, your head won't swell.
It's like, whoa. Anyway, and I think that's one of the things that good stories can do as a storyteller, good songwriters can do. I think they give us vessels. It's like Go Rest High on This Mountain is a vessel for everybody's grief, right? You're sort of giving as a gift to say, to process things and process how we feel about things.
Yeah, and that song is really not a sad song. It's a celebratory song, and it's a song of hope, and that's kind of where it came from for me. I'm not the biggest church guy in the world. Amy married me.
So I've heard.
Everybody thinks I'm, like Amy is, and I'm not. I didn't go to church much as a kid, and I feel it's all up for discussion.
Yeah.
And till you know, you don't know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, most people hear Go Rest High on That Mountain because of the way it's treated musically. It sounds melancholy and it sounds sad, and it is. It's about a sad subject, but the hopefulness in it and the joy in it is really there if you listen to the words.
Yeah. Is it hard? I mean, I got raised my whole life, like, you're too sensitive, you're too whatever, which happens to be why I'm good at what I do. I am sensitive. But when I was growing up, that was not really the thing that people necessarily were celebrating. And it's hard for me sometimes to be this sensitive because there's so much to take in that's hard. Is it hard for you to navigate? Because you're such a sensitive, empathetic, vulnerable person. It comes through your work. Is it hard to navigate? Do you know what I'm saying? To be as sensitive as you are?
Well, it's I guess sometimes you find it's hard to be honest, because people will persecute you for it.
Mm-hmm.
People will tear you down, but I don't mind it. What I'm drawn to musically is the melancholy of it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be moved by music. I don't want to be impressed by it.
Yeah.
I don't care how many notes you can sing. I don't care how many shredding guitar playing notes you can play. I want to be moved by music, and that's what I go to music for. It's like therapy. It's how do I, when I go through a struggle of losing my father or losing my brother or going through a divorce or what have you, I go to music, and that's where my therapy is.
Do you go to music to write it or listen to it?
Both, but more to write it. I think that there are songs that compel me that other people do. Obviously, I wouldn't have never learned to do this had it not been for a whole lot of inspiration of getting to hear great music, great singers, great musicians, and all that great songs. So,
How long does it take? I don't even know if this is an answerable question. I was just watching on when the California fires were happening, and I can't remember the comedian's name, but he was on Jimmy Fallon. And the night before, his house had burned down, and he was already processing it through humor and writing jokes about it.
sure.
How long does it take for you to have something happen and then you start writing a song about it? Like, is it an instantaneous thing? Is it a couple of weeks? I mean, how long does it take for you to begin to turn it into music?
I don't know that there's an answer to that.
Yeah, I didn't know if there would be.
You just sit down and you play and you sing and you find a melody and what do you want to talk about? What do you want to write about? And I think that creativity is always spinning in my head, and I love comedy. I love laughing at everything. And sometimes it's inappropriate, but
It's a release.
but it's like, come on, man, you gotta you can't draw a line and say, okay, you can't go past that because that's not funny. Well, yeah, if you can find something funny in it, it's fair game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so last night I got a sneak listen to a couple of songs that you've written, but one I feel like is an anthem. I was about to walk out the door at 11 o'clock at night and start marching. So, can you talk a little bit about this new song, March On? Can you talk a little bit about
Yeah,
it?
it's the song's called March On, March On, and it's all it really is just kind of trying to be empathetic about the struggle that's gone on in our country for eons, and whenever you bring that up and people that don't feel like you do, they can point out A, B, C, D, why, blah, blah, blah. It's like,
And we're talking about racial equality.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And it just, I grew up in a time when I started in 7th grade, we started integrating the schools, and the truth was the kids never had a problem, which was kind of beautiful to discover and figure out. And I don't think the kids of today have a problem, just hanging on to all these old ways, that just didn't. I don't know how it makes any sense. That's all. And I'm not begrudging anybody that doesn't want to feel that way. It's fine, But until what do they say? Never criticize a man till you've walked a mile in his shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're a mile away and you have his shoes.
Well, but what's your hope for that song? What's your hope for that? I mean, I literally, for me, heard it one time. I'm like, okay, it was a very moving and motivating song.
Yeah.
So what's your hope for that song?
Well, I don't know. I don't have a goal for it. I just love doing the work.
Yeah.
And I've learned through my lifetime that whatever happens, I have no control over.
Yeah.
So, I just hope people understand it's not a knock on anybody.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just the truth. I think the truth is the most compelling thing that there is on earth.
Yes.
And if you could find your way to it without feeling like you're being scolded or I think there's so many white people that think, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And that's the standard answer. I didn't have anything to do with it. What are you mad at me for? Well, I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying this is real.
Yeah.
And just have some sympathy for it. Maybe a little bit of heart for it. But
but that's a brave stance to take, Vince Gill. It's not like everybody's out there saying right now, be empathetic, try to understand. There's not a lot of voices saying that. So that's an important thing to be saying.
And that, once again, it's, I can't, and for you to think you can control how somebody thinks is foolish, but it's a powerful song. And
It is.
I remember there was a thing that was going on here in town with this young kid, Morgan Wallen, who's blown up and is a huge star in country music, and he used some language he probably regrets, and they caught him doing it and put it out there and tried to cancel him and did a bunch of things. And I was doing an interview with CBS this morning, and they asked me about it, and I said, man, I don't even know the kid, you know. So I'm not gonna jump on and bury him and be like that. I said, here's how I feel about it, and I played him the song. And when it aired, the first person I heard from was Kev Moe, blues singer, my friend, and he just said thank you. The text just said thank you. And you know, I asked some friends that are black. I said, am I way off base here? You know, and every one of them said, no, you couldn't have told the truth any better and any kinder. You know, I think that if you approach some of these subjects with a decency and a kindness about it, that's not
finger wagging,
shaming.
Yeah,
you know, nobody likes to feel like they're being shamed ever.
Yeah.
Don't care who you are, what you are, any of that. And so that's all I'm trying. There's a great songwriter in our history named Tom T. Hall. He wrote a lot of great songs. And he made a statement that I thought was so profound when they asked him about your perspective of writing songs. He goes, I'm just an observer.
Yeah.
I'm writing from a place of observance. And I think I do too.
Yeah.
You know, and once again, if everybody wants to hold my feet to the fire and disagree and think I'm this and that's their prerogative. I'm still going to sleep tonight when I lay down. I feel that way, so I'm good.
We always say it's not about you, it's about the message. So the message that you're sending out is a really powerful one.
Well, you know, kindness would solve every problem we have.
Yep.
You know.
Thanks for being a beacon for that. Okay, I have a couple more questions I want to ask you. Oh, real quick, when do we get to hear March On? How long do we have to wait?
I don't know.
We don't.
have a
Okay,
clue.
all right. It's something that we can all.
Got a bunch of new music I'm working on. It'll probably get rolled out over the next year.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll just keep us posted. You obviously have a high-profile personality. I mean, you're out there.
Used to.
It's still there. I think I just saw you on TV the other night, if I'm not mistaken, celebrating 100 years of the Grand Ole Opry. I know you're very involved in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to talk about that devotion and a dedication to something like the Country Music Hall of Fame, and I know you're very involved in All for the Hall, which raises money for the educational fund, and is it Words and Music? Is that the program that is also kept alive by that?
It's everything.
It's everything.
Everything that has to do with the Country Music Hall of Fame.
And so, the rest of us may not have as big as a platform as you have, but we all have the ability to move the needle a bit in our world by giving back. And so I want you to talk a little bit about that, how it matters to give back to organizations like that or causes like that, what that even, and how that serves you as an artist.
Well, it's simple. I have a great reverence of what came before me, and a great respect of the reason I get to do what I do is because of the shoulders of the ones that came before me. I'm standing on them, like they helped me. They were supportive of me, encouraged me, and taught me all those things. And you can, it'd be real easy to go, hey, I'm killing it. I can get the big head and I'm pretty untouchable now, but you can't do this alone. It takes a village, they say, and it's true. So that reverence that I have for the past is really important. I look back to those infant years of learning these songs and my father teaching me songs and my mom playing the harmonica and my grandma playing the piano and it's just etched so deep in my world that I can't be any other way. I have my heroes.
Yeah.
We all do, regardless of what it is you do. Some of them are baseball players, some of them are golfers, some of them are musicians, some of them are songwriters, and it's singers, and it's all kinds of things.
Well, I mean, and I think that's one of the things we're trying to do on this show. I'm trying to do is just put people in front of the community to say, here's a blueprint for how to be courageous and creative at the same time. And just because we can't do this alone, we have to do it in community. And we need people to build us up as we go along. what do you have coming up next? I know you're touring all summer. You're going to be in Boston on May 17th. I'm going to try to be in the crowd.
Okay.
I am. I just
I'll wave to you.
Thank you. I wish you could recognize me. I'll be in the front row. Yay, Vince. But what are you doing this summer? You're touring all summer?
Yeah, I'm going to go out for, I think, 35 dates with my band. And, I've been touring with the Eagles for the last 8 or 9 years. And with giving them the majority of my time, I haven't been able to do much of my own career and my own creative 40 plus years of doing this, as a solo artist. So I miss singing those songs.
Yeah.
It's that simple. So I don't have to work this summer, and I decided I'd go out and knock around a bit.
Well, we look forward to you knocking around. Here's the question I ask everybody. What do you need courage for right now?
Oh gosh, what do I need courage for right now? I think courage and being an idiot are really, really, really close to each other. So
what do you need to be an idiot for right now?
Not much. Evidently, I'm really good at it. But I love living in the moment. And I guess if I had, and I have plenty, it seems like I have courage for that. So if I had to always be hopeful that I had the willingness to not look too far into the past or into the future, and back to the past, that those things are nothing you can do about either one of those.
Yeah.
So I live totally in the moment. I don't plan anything, and I'm not afraid of much.
Oh, good. Vince, thank you so much.
I don't like flying so much.
You
I don't like flying that much. I need
Do you
courage
not like flying?
I hate flying, and I wish I had more courage when I fly. I talk like a sailor when I'm flying, and there's a little bump and all that. So
they do have pills for that. You can medicate yourself. You don't do any of that kind of stuff. No. Okay.
I've never smoked any dope. I'm the only musician I know.
Really? That never smoked any dope?
Never took any drugs.
Yeah, I'm not.
Straight-laced.
I'm just too much of a control freak.
I was too afraid of my father. He's been dead for 28 years, and I'm still scared. He'll come down from the clouds and get me.
I know that feeling. Vince, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm so delighted to be here. Thank you.
Bye.
Vince serves as a role model not only for courage and devotion to one's craft, but also humility and kindness. And he got me asking some questions. When it comes to your creativity, are you doing the sure thing or the right thing? How are you judging your success? Are you pushing yourself out of your element? And finally, who are the folks in your village helping you make your work? While we wait for Vince's new music to be released, check out his performance of his song, March On. You can find his performance from CBS Mornings on YouTube or in the episode show notes. We'll have that clip and several more, including Go Rest High on That Mountain with Patti Loveless and Every Breath You Take with Sting. Find out more about Vince and check out his tour schedule at vincegill.com. If you have the chance to see him perform live, you do not want to miss it. And if you want a really special treat, go see him at the Ryman in Nashville this August. Vince and Amy's daughter, Karina, will be his opening act. And believe me, that apple does not fall far from the tree. Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at podcast@trisharoseburt.com. And if you liked this episode, please share it with one other person that you think will enjoy it. Then maybe talk to them about the parts that resonate. It really helps build our audience. And remember, this is no time to be timid. No Time to Be Timid is written and produced by me, Trisha Rose Burt. Our episodes are produced and scored by Adam Arnone of Echo Finch. And our executive producers are Amy Grant, Nancy Perot, and Sage Wheeler. I'd also like to thank contributors to my Fractured Atlas fiscal sponsorship, which helps make this podcast happen. No Time to Be Timid is a presentation of I Will Be Good Productions.
You can change yourself and change the world. It's no time to be timid if you haven't heard. me hurt.